Alright, see all this? By this time tomorrow it's gonna look really crappy. Hey everybody, Zoom360 here on the go, and today is story time mixed in with small little review of Import Alliance, which I can't believe is over. 2 days is too short. Let's do story time. All right. Yeah, buddy, 314,360 miles. So here I am driving to Import Alliance, and when I reach Evansville, which is about 2 hours away from Import Alliance, the battery light came on, and I was like, dope! Yeah, so once that happened, I'm like, okay, it's probably the battery, because the battery is about 2 to 3 years old, though these things usually last about 3 to 4, so maybe it's about that time. I had the battery changed out, and so once that happened, okay, got a brand new battery, 2019, I'm like, okay, I'm good. Went into Suki's and cranked her up, and I still had the red battery light, and I was like, oh, the alternator. Now, the thing about the alternator is this, right? Is that it's something that I've changed before, but the thing is that I did it in the garage of my house at the time, and then I had to remove the bumper and put the put the front part of the car on jacks. So my alternator is held by 2 bolts. One is up top, and then the other's on the bottom. Now the one that's on top is very easy to get to, too easy. But the one that's on the bottom, that's the one that I have to remove the bumper for, so I could reach it from the bottom. And I'm like, oh. So I bought myself a brand new one, and I was driving around to find a lot, to find where I could change this thing in the middle of the night. Well, not in the middle of the night, but it was still late. And I decided, and in the end, not to do it myself, to have a pro do it, because I just didn't feel like removing my bumper in some parking lot, because the cops might show up, and if they show up, it's gonna be insane. So I'm like, okay, we're not doing that. So I went to MCO, and it turns out that it was closed, and it wasn't going to be open the next day. And then, so I went to Firestone, and it turns out that, well, of course it was already closed, because it was like, I think it was like 9 or 10 p.m. So I stayed in the parking lot of the Firestone. Alright guys, Zoom360 here on the go. I'm not sure if this is gonna make the vlog, but I figured, since I'm here, fine. So right now we are about an hour from Bowling Green, and I was driving, and then the symbol for the battery showed up. It was red. So at first I thought that probably it's my battery, because I've had it for like 2 years, and sometimes they could go out as early as 2 years. So I went to AutoZone, and I still had the warranty and everything like that, so they changed the battery, but it still has the fault. So I think it's the alternator. The alternator itself is also 2 years old. Now, I think the one I bought though was a remanufactured one. So next time I'm gonna buy the Lexus one. So I'm over at the Firestone's car service, they're closed, but they're open. They are open at 7 a.m. So I'm going to stay in their lot during the night. This is us right here. We're gonna stay right here because I don't want to go to a hotel and then I turn off the car and it won't start in the morning, which means I'm gonna have to have it towed, stuff like that. So I'm gonna suck it up. I'm gonna sleep in the car, but we are right where we need to be if the car doesn't start in the morning. So I went to AutoZone and I bought a brand new alternator, and it's in the car right now. But it's not per se a brand new one. It's been remanufactured, so I think it should be good enough for me to head back home. So we're gonna stay here in the car. I hope you guys can see me because I am black. There's not a whole lot of light out here. So they open at 7 a.m. So I'm going to talk to them tomorrow and see how much it's gonna cost me to have them replace it. So I crashed in the car, stayed there the whole night, slept well for some reason. I'm not sure. And I was like, I hope this fixes it, because the other option will be to leave the car there and fly back to Colorado and wait for the phone call to say it's all fixed for me to fly back and drive it back. It'll be a nightmare just to come so close to Import Alliance. And I'm like, it would be a shame to come so close and not make it. So yeah, so here I was in the parking lot of the Firestone, 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, oh, I'm so close. But still, I was thankful though, because I'm glad it's something simple like the alternator that was failing. It wasn't completely out, but it was failing. I'm glad it was that simple, because it could have been something like crazier. It could have been transmission failure. It could have been an axle failure. It could have been a diff failure. Some kind of something wrong with the engine, with the internals, where that it was something major that couldn't be fixed quickly. So the next morning they opened at 7 a.m. and as soon as they opened, went in there, talked to the guy. So it turns out they can't use the alternator that I bought from AutoZone because they can't place a guarantee on the work, which they have to do. So I was like, fine, just change it out, which they did. Here we are walking. We're about an hour away from Bowling Green. Got my alternator here. I'm walking to AutoZone down there. I can actually see the sign. So they can't Firestone cannot put this one on for me because they cannot guarantee their work. I didn't really think about that last night, but I bought one just in case the car died. So now I'm going over there to see if that they would take it back, because they're using their own over there. So yeah, so all right, just a quick little vlog update, I guess. So the person who actually changed the alternator, his name is Tyler Yates, and his Instagram name is right here. We are still at Firestone, but the problem has been fixed, so there's no longer the dreaded red battery light. So it turns out that the alternator was failing. I'm glad that the problem we had was a small problem. So Import Alliance is about 1 hour away. But first I'm going to bring back the alternator, because it turns out that the one I bought that we're not going to be using after all, because they used their own, and plus it has a guarantee. So yeah, so we have all that. So all right, so this little side thing, I look a little bit rough because I had to sleep in the car, because I didn't want to walk to a hotel, leave the car here, walk back. It was a big mess. It is what it is. We still have another issue. The front tires, I think that they're gonna be good enough to bring me back, but I'm gonna keep an eye on them. So I do have a spare, so that shouldn't be a problem. I think they're gonna take me back, but you still gotta be careful with this stuff. So yeah, so let's go into Import Alliance, or try to. Oh, and one more thing, special thanks to the mechanic in there. He also changed my negative terminal for my battery. Oh, you are the man, and you know who you are. Go ahead and give him a follow. He's a really cool guy. That was the story time. I mean, I got so close, and I almost didn't make it. And that was weird because the alternator that failed, I've had it on for maybe 2-4 years. So it's not that old. And the one before was the one that came with the car, and that one lasted for 15 years. And I was like, surely it can't be the alternator, but apparently these things could fail. And I think the one I bought was not an original one from Lexus. It's one of those that you buy from AutoZone, and I think it was remanufactured. So maybe that's the reason why it didn't last anywhere near as the original one that came with the car. 15 years. That's insane. So I think I'm just going to keep an eye on that. I think about 2 years from now, I'm probably gonna order one from Lexus so I could get one from them, and hopefully it'll last me a lot longer. Because now, because this one, I don't know, but I'm not sure exactly what the guarantee is. But yeah, so close call. But since then, I don't have any issues with the car. We drove back. The drive back was fantastic. The drive back was amazing. I had a blast. Yeah, so this was my Import Alliance story time. And yeah, so the next trip is in the works. I don't want to say it yet until I know exactly that it's going to go down. And as usual, I'm gonna take you along for the ride. So this is Zoom 360, inviting you to get up, get out, and do it. Like, subscribe, and share. And I'm out.